Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to our Easter edition of Kids Chapel.
Yes.
I'm here with the family. I'm Heidi.
And I'm Kevin. I'm Therese.
And I'm another Kevin.
That's my husband, Kevin. That's the first Kevin. And we're just talking about Easter. And I think I have a question to ask you guys. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Easter question?
Is there anything wrong with the Easter Bunny?
No.
Well, I mean, a question is that, well, something is kind of wrong with the Easter Bunny. Like,
What?
it's just
I thought.
I'm not judging. If you take it as a thing that's more serious than the Lord, then it is very serious.
Okay.
But if you like just use it as like a celebration, but you like Jesus better than the Easter Bunny, and you don't really like believe in the story of the Easter Bunny, then that's okay, and you just like to celebrate it, that's okay.
Okay.
So it's a 50-50 with how good the Easter Bunny is. Actually, maybe a 60-40, because 40 is bad and 60 is good, I would say. That's for me.
Thank you.
You could-
You think it's kind of like an American thing to have an Easter Bunny, or?
Kind of. I mean, there are some people in America who believe the story of the Easter Bunny, even though...
Actually, I don't even, Kimberly, Sharice, do you know what the story of the Easter Bunny actually is? Because I don't even think
I don't even know. Yeah, me don't know.
Do you know, Kevin, Senior Kevin, do you know, like, what started the whole Easter Bunny story?
Not exactly, but I do agree with what Kevin was saying. If it distracts us from the main reason why we celebrate Easter, Resurrection Sunday, then it's not a good thing.
And Good Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what is the story of the Easter Bunny?
I don't even know. I think it has something to do with an excuse for getting more candy.
No, but
Like
actually...
jelly beans, you know?
I'm not trying to judge everybody who celebrates Easter. It's just that Easter could sometimes get a little bit out of hand,
Or confused.
and you
because we're not sure what
it could
is.
get like confusing, just like Christmas, where there are distractions from the main path that we're supposed to be going on. There are other side facts, but those, it's kind of like this, where there's like a train, and the train is us, and it's about Christmas and Easter. There are other lines going from the train, and if the train goes on those wrong tracks, it would, and they eventually lead to a cliff. It would, that's kind of like us. We're like the train.
Okay.
And if we don't stay on the main path to the distractions, it's like a cliff. We're gonna
To the distractions or ignoring the distractions?
If we ignore the distractions, that's good.
So
But
you
I'm
think-
not judging though.
Okay,
Some people like to celebrate.
candy.
I do too.
And people like to do Easter egg hunts
But
too.
let's
I know
not
we do.
take it
We like to do
too but let's not take it too out of hand. Otherwise, that's kind of like the distractions that are leading to the cliffs.
Okay.
When you don't follow Jesus anymore, that's the cliff.
Okay. All right. Now, what about the Easter egg thing? I mean, because we decorated Easter eggs. It's kind of like become a tradition. Therese, did you
Kind of.
decorate Easter eggs?
I mean, that's
Yes,
good.
I put some stickers on mine too.
yeah, and it's fun.
I mean, that's
For
like,
science too, right?
I mean, that's like good. But
Can we tie that in
if you don't take, you
to
could.
the Christmas?
but if-
to the Easter story.
If you can't, but if you take it too much out of hand and you forget about what Jesus did on the cross and what he did when he got born,
okay.
then
So maybe we should just recap the actual Christian Easter story.
That's a good idea.
yeah.
You know, maybe we'll take turns. Okay.
Wait a sec.
Okay. This thing got off my headphone, but
Okay.
yeah.
So anyway, Okay, can I start the
Does
story?
anybody know what the Easter Bunny story is?
That I don't know,
Well,
but we're going to do a recap of
I
the...
think I read it today.
What is it?
I don't know.
We're going to do a recap of the actual Christian Easter story.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a
Yeah, okay.
recap. I can
So-
do a fast version.
So, why don't we start it off? Maybe
With the
Daddy
fast
can
version?
start it off, and then he'll pass it to Sharice, and then pass it to me, and then
I'm gonna do the fast version.
yeah, and then pass it to Kevin, and back to Daddy. Okay,
Yeah.
so Daddy, you can start us off.
Okay, so Jesus had to come to this earth, and he lived a sinless life.
Christmas.
Yeah, he came to this earth. We celebrate him coming as a baby on Christmas.
Yeah.
But he lived a sinless life, and then people didn't like the fact that everybody was following him. People didn't like what he was saying, and so they had a plot to kill Jesus, our Lord and Savior. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
So, because he said he was the Messiah. He said he was God. He made himself equal with God.
Okay.
He called himself Son of Man, which is an obvious term,
So-
which meant belonging to God, of God, Son of God, God himself.
He'll set up Sharice to continue. He'll
Yep.
give her a
So-
little bit more.
Yeah, so they made a plot to kill Jesus. And so what happened from there, Sharice? What did they do to
He was gonna have a meal.
hurt and kill Jesus?
I thought
Well, they had a meal called the Last Supper that some people celebrate inside a land. I think it's called Israel, right?
Yeah. And
They celebrate in Israel for the last, and the disciples and Jesus were having the Last Supper.
they commemorate Moses.
actually,
commemorate
Kevin's
Moses.
thinking they commemorate Moses, but keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah.
And then Judas left.
Oh, who is Judas?
Judas was the
Iscariot.
betray. Judas Iscariot left at the moment when John asked, "Who is it, Barai?" Then the one
Oh, Rabbi.
who dips the bread inside the bowl after I do.
Oh, wow.
And then
okay.
Judas dipped the thing after Jesus, and then Judas left without renouncing where he was going.
Okay.
And then he took
You're
some
doing
of
well.
his
Yeah.
disciples, Peter, James, and John, to go to the Garden of Gethsemane. And then
We could stop right there.
I'm gonna pass it on to Kevin.
You're gonna pass it to Kevin. Okay, go ahead, Kevin. So they went to the Garden of Gethsemane, and what happened in the garden?
What happened in the garden? What happened basically in the garden was that what basically happened in the garden, guess what?
You wanted to pray, right?
He wanted to pray, and guess what? Peter, James, and John had
Fell asleep.
never saw Jesus like they did.
Like how?
He was full of sorrow. He was sad. He was afraid. That was Jesus.
Now, if he's God, why would he be all those things?
Because he knew something was happening. He knew something was about to happen. And
so
he
even though was God,
he even
also a
said,
person.
and to the point of blood coming from his head, and it's in there. It's in there. Read that Bible.
In
Yeah.
the book of what chapter is that, Daddy? Is that book
I
of
think it was
Matthew?
something then. Yeah.
You're talking about where they're praying in the Garden of Gethsemane?
Yeah.
Check Matthew 27. I'm not
So
100%
here's what
sure.
happened. They
Don't forget you have to pass it to me.
yeah, I know. But they I'm giving you the good part. So
Careful.
what happened was that they literally
Yeah, they're in the garden.
they were in the garden, and he said I think Jesus said something like keep watch over something, and then an hour later Jesus finds them asleep.
Wow.
He wakes them up. Then the next hour, Jesus finds them asleep again. So then the next hour, Jesus finds them asleep again, the third time. And what happens is that
He says, actually, here comes my betrayer right now.
Yeah, this is like the last hour or something. He said
The hour has come.
he said the owl. He said the owl has come. Thank you for.
And this
Jewish
then,
Bible fact checker.
and this
Yeah.
then, there was a group of soldiers led by Judas the betrayer.
Yeah.
And then pass it on to mommy now. Let's go.
So let's give her the good part. Whippy, die, crossy.
Oh, actually, before that happened, one of the disciples was like, "Oh, no, you didn't. No, you did not just kind of come up in here with some soldiers trying to roll up on Jesus and come in over here,
That
even
was
though he was
Peter.
a peaceful man."
Peter.
And Peter, Peter had a little temper, I think, sometimes.
Cutting
and
off
he
ears,
took
yeah.
he took a sword
And cut off the ear.
and took one of the soldiers' ears off.
Malchus.
Like Malchus' ear on the ground. Malchus was like, "That's my ear." Okay? And Jesus was like, "No, no, no." Right, Daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Jesus healed Malchus, and that actually was a huge thing for Peter also, because he could have been put to death for going to strike the servant, what was it, the high priest's servant?
Oh, I didn't realize that. He
Yeah.
could have been put to death.
That was a
Fun
horrible
fact.
offense.
Not fun fact.
Not so fun fact.
So anyway, so then they took him. Judas actually betrayed him with a kiss. He said, "This is him," and he took him, and that led to an entire night full of
Sorrow.
They gave him beatings, and they mocked him. Do you guys know what mocking is?
Yes, like when you say, yeah, that guy
It's
is
kind of
so
like where you-
chubby.
Yeah, like
It's
making fun.
it's like where you're bragging about you. It's like there was actually a
Insults.
verse about that. That reminds me of a verse. And it's something like, and it goes something like, if you if whoever humbles himself would be exalted, right? And yeah, so pride goes before the fall, basically, and ma kind of means that it's like you're it's like you're bragging about yourself and you're putting down somebody else.
Yeah,
You're making somebody else down to
Yeah.
build yourself up.
Okay, now that's kind
That
of
reminds me of
along
verse.
That's along the path too of what
Yeah.
mocking is. Mocking is really making fun of somebody. Like, "Oh, you're so great. Then why don't you do this? Then you're so amazing. Then why don't you help yourself?"
That's
so
what they
mocked
did
him.
to him
Yeah.
on the cross.
And the Roman soldiers, Daddy, weren't they like known for being pretty? What's the word?
Wicked.
Brutal?
Brutal.
Yeah. They were brutal. They definitely were. So they mocked Jesus. They took a scepter and hit him with it.
Wow.
They ripped the beard out of his face. They whipped him. They made a crown of thorns and shoved it on his head, mocking the
that's
fact that
definitely
he was mocking the fact that he said he was royalty. They gave him a robe. They were punching him, spitting on him. It was really brutal.
And they asked him a lot of questions, right?
Yeah.
And he
You
didn't answer.
think you're the son of God? You think you're the equal of God? And then the Pharisees did this.
The high priest.
And then the Pharisees did this. He is guilty of blasphemy, blasphemy, blasphemy.
Right. So they were so mad, and they're the ones who turned them over, right?
And on another episode, the Pharisees were so mad that
Middle kids.
the Pharisees were so mad that their faces turned totally red and smoke was coming out of their ears.
Oh, that was a cartoon.
That was after Jesus was alive.
So basically,
Yeah, so-
the next thing that happened was that went
after
on
he
all
died.
night, right?
Yeah, after he died.
Yeah, I believe it was Thursday where Jesus was in Gethsemane and then arrested, and then the trial went on when it wasn't supposed to be going on. Like it was like, I think it was like the middle of the night, probably early Friday morning,
Wow.
and then crucified in the afternoon, right?
And also,
Yeah,
what
I
happened
can't-
after he
I
died?
don't-
He had to carry his cross too.
Yeah, he had to carry his own cross, yeah.
Sorry, that was my squishy
then,
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he fell under the weight of it. He lost a lot of blood. He had no strength, and he fell underneath the weight of it. And who was it? Simon of Cyrene? No, was it
Yeah,
Simon of Cyrene?
that sounds right. We'll go with that.
And so, yeah, he helped him with the cross.
Yep.
So yeah, very significant. And that's when they crucified him on Calvary.
So that's all the Good Friday
Golgotha.
part. And why do they even call
Yeah.
it Good Friday, Kevin?
Because it's not
if
too good to me.
it doesn't sound good. So like,
Yeah.
why do they call it Good Friday?
I know why. It's because there was even a song about that. Fridays good, 'cause Sundays coming.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The
I love
the
that.
thing. Yeah.
So I guess what basically happened afterwards was he died, right? But before he died, he had different things he called out to the Lord, you know. And then the main one he called out was, Father, forgive them.
And then he
Not
said
because-
also
Because what?
They don't know what they're doing.
Because they don't know what
I
they're doing.
think-
And he
I
actually had how many legions of angels? 10,000 angels. The
6,000?
Bible
What did
says
he
he
say?
could have called legions of angels down
Yeah.
off that cross while he was on there.
That's true.
And they didn't, and he didn't.
the angels were way to come down there faster than like a Sonic.
Yeah. But they didn't. And he didn't call on them. And he eventually said, into your hands I commit my spirit. And he breathed his last.
He said
And
it is finished.
He said, it is finished.
And then he died.
Right when he died, a few things happened, didn't they? I think
What
there's.
happened?
Well, I know one thing that happened. There was an earthquake, right?
Yeah, there was an earthquake and the veil was torn. Can you
right.
believe that?
What veil? What are you talking
The
about?
veil was torn, like the curtain
A
of
curtain. Okay.
yeah.
The what curtain?
Curtains
When
are
did it
usually pretty
separate?
thin.
It separated the Holy of Holies
Good.
to like the main part of the temple, and what happened was that
But it wasn't a regular curtain, was it?
it was 4 inches thick, and
Wow.
and did you know a pair of horses couldn't tear it apart?
Wow.
Yeah, a pair of horses.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was strong, and for
That's from the Bible.
and for it to be
infographics.
and
Thank you, Bible
did and also
infographics.
and also dead people had risen from the dead.
That's what it
Yeah.
says.
Tombs.
Read your Bible.
Read it. It's in there. So
Yeah.
it literally said that the rocks rolled away from the people who already got buried, and they came back to life when Jesus died. Literally, they
That's
came
so
back
cool.
to life after the dead, just like Jesus will in 3 days, and he got killed on Friday.
And that's
And
about
so-
the Easter story.
You mentioned the earthquake. You mentioned the veil was torn. What else happened?
Oh,
Oh,
there was something
I
else
think-
significant.
I can't remember.
Think about what time of day it was, right?
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh.
wasn't it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon
Yeah,
when the
it
sun
was
is
something
like
like that.
super bright
The
usually?
sun's usually
Yeah.
bright. So what
And-
happened?
And so what happened
And
was
sky
that
turned dark.
the sky
Yes.
turned really dark as if it was like midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But
people
no
were
star
like,
showing.
the Bible says actually in Luke, chapter 23, verse 44, it was now about noon, and darkness came. It was not even 3 o'clock, it was noon. And darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. For the sun just stopped shining. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. When he had said this, he breathed his last, and the centurion, who's a centurion? They're in charge of
100, I believe.
Yep,
100.
century, 100. Okay, they're in charge of 100. Seeing what had happened, praised God and said, "Surely, this was a righteous man." And
there was a Roman soldier who said that, and there was an earthquake, and that's how the Roman soldier said that.
So this is all what led up. And by the way, his mom saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
was watching
so sad
from a distance. Yeah.
She was,
so sad, like she was like this. I'll tell you the next part right now.
Like we just finished saying, Mary watched from a distance along with some others who were followers of Jesus. But then Joseph of Arimathea came along and asked for his body. Yeah. He had a tomb
that he was going to use somebody, but he decided to use it for
an unused
Jesus.
tomb he was going to use for maybe something else, maybe for himself or his family.
Yeah.
But the
and
Lord
he decided to use it for Jesus.
And he was very sad. And he was very sad that he wanted to do something nice for him to show how much that he loved Jesus, and he was very sad that he was dead. So he said, "You know what? I could use this
for myself.
I could use this for myself, but." But the thing is, he didn't know that Jesus was gonna go back from the dead. He didn't know that, so he actually that was actually him who decided
to use it for Jesus.
Yeah,
Well, that's okay.
He what happened was that he literally, I don't even know how to describe it. He kind of.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
A little hiccup there. But he put him in the tomb. He did that. And what happened during Saturday? Was it Saturday? Which day they would have come? The women had come
early Sunday because Saturday was a Sabbath.
Oh, right? Saturday was their day of rest.
And the earthquake
So they would come early on Sunday morning to prepare the body.
Yeah. And this is where things get interesting. Daddy, you take it over a little bit for us.
So the stone had been rolled away when the women got there. And they met a man who was actually an angel. And he said, "Why do you look for the living among the dead?" And so these two women were coming to prepare the body of Jesus, but there was no body of Jesus because he was rose. Alive. Exactly, he rose from the dead.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
So there was actually and before the woman even thought to came. Well, actually, they might have thought to came, but before the woman even decided they were gonna actually come. So what happened was that before they even decided they were gonna come, there was an angel at night. The guardians. What happened was that the Pharisees, after Jesus was dead, the Pharisees and the Sadducees were still worried about Jesus, because then he said, they said to Pontius Pilate, "What if Jesus' disciples come in at night, so what happened was that they they move over the stone and they take his body and they say Jesus is alive."
Yeah, so they were
preparing, and that would cause a lot of trouble
for you, Pilate.
Yeah, for Pontius Pilate. Now,
so who did he put in charge? He
put some guards there.
Yeah, and what happened was that I don't know what to say. The guardians back in the day when if you lived in that day, you would be terrified of Roman soldiers back in the day.
Definitely.
Because they actually, you know how
they were very violent.
Yeah, they were very violent.
Can I take over, bud?
Yeah.
So the Roman soldiers, they had a very specific task. They were supposed to watch the body. But the angel, I think the part Kevin wanted to get to was the angel had them fall into a deep sleep. Right? So they were asleep when this whole thing happened. Or they were terrified, right? They were terrified, and they fell. They fell and fainted, basically. And so they were out of it. They were out of it. All right. So the stone was rolled away. Jesus rose. The women came to the place to prepare his body. There was no body because Jesus is alive. And the garden, they thought it was a gardener, actually an angel, said, "Don't look for the living among the dead. Go and tell the disciples." So the women went to tell the disciples.
This is it.
And then
the rest is history,
while they ran, nope, the rest isn't history, because think about it. While they ran, Jesus literally sewed up in the bushes, just like my dad one time scared mommy in the bushes. But
wait, how?
Remember that time when you? Yeah, but anyway.
You were walking Cherise.
Yeah,
he jumped
but
out, yeah.
what happened was that back to the story. See, remember the distractions I was talking about. So,
talk about John and Peter running to the
Oh yes, they had a little race. The disciples
and John went faster than Peter, but he didn't actually go in.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter actually, the two of them came after the ladies.
Yeah.
So then what happened was
they
that
came back and said it was just as the women said.
And I'm gonna leave it
just
to
like the women
I'm
said.
gonna leave
if
it.
you want a story accurate, ask the women.
And then confirm it from two men.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it
That's
to
funny.
Daddy.
Yeah, so there you go. Jesus rose.
That's
And that's how we're celebrating.
But it was a miracle.
Okay. Yeah.
Talk
But
about
Complete miracle.
Talk about
And
the
after
thing
he
where,
appeared, didn't he walk around for like 50 days?
No, 40. And
No, I thought it was 50. But
No,
it's the Book of Acts. But
yeah, he got a new disciple to replace
Oh, you're
Judas
talking-
Iscariot.
Oh, you're talking about, that's in the Book of Acts.
That's
yeah.
true because Judas later on.
So
ended his
you
own
remember the
life
guy's
and-
name?
Yeah.
What's his name that took over for Judas?
I think it was it Joseph? No.
Matthias.
Oh, Maddie.
Wait a second. Matthias, the person who had his ear cut off?
No, that was Malchus.
That was Malchus.
Oh.
Different M.
different animal.
So
All right.
yeah,
There you
that's the
go.
Easter story. And if Jesus had not risen from the dead, what is
We
the
wouldn't have access to heaven.
being alive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very
Because
good.
Even being alive.
basically, Jesus, that was God's way of saying, I know I made a rule that only forgiveness could only happen by the shedding of innocent blood. But there's nobody's
Yeah.
blood more innocent than mine.
What
could've
about
just
the
killed
animals?
everybody.
The animals
He
don't
didn't
have.
want that to happen anymore.
They don't have it. They don't have
And so
it.
he let himself be the sacrifice.
Yeah. Because there
Jesus
was no
rose for us.
human.
Amen.
There was no human who ever lived or
So-
will lived or in present lived who ever has pure blood like Jesus.
I just don't know where the jelly beans come into the story, but, hey,
That's a
candy's
mystery.
candy's always
Just
fun.
like
That's a
distractions.
mystery for another
I
day.
think new life, though. He came back to life, so there's the egg thing, right? With
Yeah,
the new
there was
life.
that egg thing with the new
So-
life. Inside the thing, there's the yolk, and that's how they call it, the new life.
All right.
The yolk turns into a
So
chick.
All right,
thanks for
everybody.
listening, everybody. That was pretty much the story.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the
In a
Easter
simple 30-minute
Yeah.
podcast.
rendition. Yeah.
Well,
Alrighty.
Oh, and we're also having a service tonight.
Oh yeah. Well, this is
Yeah.
kind of like a service.
No.
talking about it.
A service right here.
Right here, right now. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Hope I could see you again.
Happy Easter.
yeah, hope I could hear from you.
AKA Happy Resurrection,
Resurrection
Sunday.
Sunday.
All right,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Bye.